Okay, so this video is going to go over how to make a graph in Google Sheets. So, on Google Classroom, under the Classwork tab, you're going to have the Marble Speed Lab Part 1 and Part 2. In this lab, you will have a Google Sheets doc called Remix Graph. You are going to open this and you are going to essentially have something that looks very similar to this. So on Google Sheets, you can easily make a graph. I'm going to use data from the Marble Speed Lab Part 1. You will be using your data from the Marble Speed Lab Part 2 remix. So for yours, you're going to use your setup numbers, right? But meaning like if you were testing the different heights, you might have 30, you might have 40, you might have 50. If you were testing different balls, you might have golf ball here, baseball, right? But for everyone, we'll have the average speed. So your x-axis is going to be your variable that your group was testing, and your y-axis will be average speed. So you will find it on your data table. Okay, so let's plug this in. So I'm using my data table down here. So my x-axis label is always going to be in this first column. So it's going to be, I know we said starting position. I'm going to say starting height, and I'm going to include a unit in parentheses. Okay, my y-axis label is going to be average speed. And I'm going to include my units. If you include your units here now, it's going to help you out later. Now I'm going to enter my data. I'm going to enter 0 because there was a point when the marble was not moving, right? It was in a stopped position, and I want my graph connected to the origin. So that's why I'm adding the 0 here. If you have like a descriptive setup, like if you're talking about different balls, you don't need to add the 0 here. But if your variable is including numbers, like if you change the angle, if you change the height, if you change the ramp length, you will want to start from 0. Okay, so let's enter my data in. I need to enter into new boxes. You cannot include units in these boxes or else the graph is not going to work. Okay, now I'm adding my speed values. 0.6, 0.75, and this is the part that you're going to get really upset about. I'm going to highlight these two columns, and I'm going to hit Insert Chart, and it's going to make a graph for me, like instantly. Sometimes it might not make the correct graph. So because this includes numbers on both axes, it should be a line graph, and this is. So you're going to want to use the chart editor if it's not correct. So you'll use under the setup. If you're using a bar graph or column chart, you'll use this one, but if you're dealing with numbers on both axes, you want a line chart. So I have a line chart. I have the correct labels, right? My setup is correct. It's connected to origin. I'm now going to double click the title because I want the title to be the relationship between starting height and I'm going to say marble speed so that it's specific. And then you can do this cool thing. You can format it. So I'm going to make it centered. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to change the color, right? And you can do the same thing with all of these labels. So I'm going to make sure all my labels are good. Okay, that looks good. This is actually a pretty clean graph. There's not much that I would change, but you can click around and like, bold if you want to, change the sizes if you think that it will help. But you want like a clean, nice graph. The only thing that I would like really want is I want point values. So right now I just have a nice clean line. So I'm going to go into the chart editor and go to series. When I go to series, it'll say point size, and I'm going to put the point size to 7. So I can now see the actual data points where this line is generated from. So that's going to be helpful. And then I can change to a star or I can change to a triangle. So I'll do a triangle. Actually, that's pretty tiny. Actually, that's decent. The circle's the best. I'll do a circle and then I can even change my line color. So I like purple, I'll do purple. But this is my graph and it's ready to go. If you want to print this, I would say the best thing to do is just add it into a Google Doc and print from there. But this is a beautiful graph, and that's how you graph in Google Sheets. Please do not be mad that I'm showing you a quick way to graph because this took less than 2 minutes. Thank you.